I remember in all my life is the one on which my teacher Annie Mansfield Sullivan came to me. I am filled with wonder when I consider the immeasurable contrasts between the two leaves which it connects. It was the 3rd of March 1887, 3 months before I was 7 years old. On the afternoon of that eventful day, I stood on the porch, dumb, expectant. I guessed vaguely from my mother's signs and from the hurrying to and fro in the house that something unusual was about to happen. So I went to the door and waited on the steps. The afternoon sun penetrated the mass of honeysuckle that covered the porch and fell on my unturned face. My fingers lingered almost unconsciously on the familiar leaves and blossoms, which had just come forth to greet and sweet southern spring. I did not know what the future held of marvel or surprise for me. Anger and bitterness had preyed upon me continuously for weeks. A deep languor had succeeded this passionate struggle. Have you ever been at sea in a dense fog when it seemed as if a tangible white darkness shut you in, and the great ship, tense and anxious, groped her way toward the shore with the plummet and the sounding line, and you waited with the beating heart of something to happen. I was like the ship before my education began, only I was without a compass or sounding line and had no way of knowing how near the harbor was. Light, give me light, was the wordless cry of my soul. The light of love shone on me in the very hour. I felt approaching footsteps. I stretched out my hand as I supposed to my mother. Someone took it, and I was caught up and held close in the arms of her who had come to reveal all things to me, and more than all things else, to love me. The morning after my teacher came, she led me into her room and gave me a doll. The little blind children at the Perkins institutions had sent it, and Laura Bridgman had dressed it, but I did not know this until afterward, when I had played with it a little while. Miss Sullivan slowly swelled into my hand, and the word doll. I was at once interested in the finger play and tried to imitate it. When I finally succeeded in making the letters correctly, I was flushed with the eldish pleasure and pride. Running downstairs to my mother, I held up my hand and made, or even that words existed. I was simply making my fingers go in monkey line imitations. In the days that followed, I learned to spell in this uncomforting way a great many words. Among them, pin, hat, cup, and a few verbs like sit, stand, and walk. But my teacher had been with me several weeks before I understood that everything has a name. One day, while I was playing with my new doll, Miss Sullivan put my big rag doll into my lap, also spelled doll, and tried to make me understand that doll applied to both. Earlier in the day, we had a tussle over the words mug and water. Miss Sullivan had tried to impress it upon me that mug is mug and that water is water. But I persisted in confounding the two. The in disappear she had dropped the subject for me the time only to renew it at the first opportunity. I became impatient at her repeated attempts and seizing the new door. I dashed it upon the floor. I was nearly delighted when I felt that fragments of the broken doll at my feet. Neither sorrow nor not regret followed my passionate outsides. I had not loved the doll. In the still, dark world in which I lived, there was no strong sentiment or tenderness. I felt my teacher sweep and fragments to one side of my heart, and I had sense of satisfaction that that cause of my discomfort was removed. She brought my heart, and I knew I was going out the warm sunshine. This thought, if a wordless sensation may be called thought, made me hope and skip with the pleasure. We walked down the path to the well house, attracted by the fragrance of the honeysuckle with which it is covered. Since one was drawing water, and my teacher placed my hand under the spot. As the cool stream gushed over the hand, she swelled into the other word water, first slowly, then rapidly. I stood still, my whole attention fixed upon the motions of her fingers. Suddenly, I felt it misty conscious of something forgotten, a thrill of returning thought. and somehow the mystery of language was revealed to me. I know that water meant the wonderful, cool something that was flowing over my hand. The living word awakened my soul, gave it light, hope, joy, set it free. There were berries still. Is it true? And but berries that could in time be swept away. I left the wall house eager to learn. Everything had a name, and each name gave birth to a new thought. As we returned to the house, every object which I touched seemed to cure with the life. That was because I everything with the strange new sight that had come to me. On entering the door, I remembered the doll I had broken. I felt my way to her and picked up the pieces. I tried vainly to put them together. Then my eyes filled with tears, for I realized what I had done, and for the first time I felt repentance and sorrow. I learned a great many new words that day. I do not remember when they all were, but I do know that mother, father, sister, teachers were among them. Words that were to make the world blossom for me, like Aaron's rod with flowers. It would have been difficult to find happier child than I was laying in my crib at the close of that eventful day and lived over the joys it had brought me, and for the first time longed for a new day to come.